Some of my best videos on social media have been videos about business and the economy and politics in South Africa. And I think at some point I need to try and get back to making more of those videos. I remember there was one that trended where I was unpacking the banking industry in South Africa. There was one where I was speaking about the Public Investment Corporation, the PIC, which is the largest asset management institution on the African continent. I think they look after 3 trillion rand, largely money from the Government Employee Pension Fund, the GEPF, but also from other pension funds as well. And how it is invested in so many big businesses in South Africa, which people call white monopoly capital. This was at a time when Mr. Price was rolling out containers in townships, and I think USave under ShopRite was doing the same. I traveled over the weekend. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but the weekend of the, I think, 3rd, 4th of December. I pre-record videos now, by the way. It just helps me in terms of timing. Because sometimes if I have to rush making videos every morning, I don't upload them on time. I may have meetings, etc. So it becomes a bit of a schlep for me. So I try to pre-record some videos. Some videos, of course, I record on the day and I try to upload as soon as I can. So the weekend of the 3rd and 4th of December 2022, I traveled to Howick. A cousin of mine was having Umemulo, which people know as a 21st, but actually it's a coming of age for a young girl where her parents acknowledge that she is now an adult, a woman, and she can go forth and live her life, get married and have children. While I was there, traveled to Newcastle as well, where I grew up in KwaZulu-Natal, the northern parts at least. And I saw that one of the Pick n Pays in town had been converted to a QualiSafe Pick n Pay. I first saw QualiSafe Pick n Pay at Newtown Junction in Johannesburg. I was there to work at Amped Studios. Shout out to Slim and the guys that work at Amped Studios at Newtown Junction. And I saw QualiSafe and I was intrigued because I've got a curious mind. So I obviously research and see what's going on. And I saw that Pick n Pay is trying to convert a chunk of its stores into this new QualiSafe brand. Of course, QualiSafe almost sounds like USave, which is under the ShopRite umbrella. So in my head, I thought they're probably coming with a cheaper option for the Pick n Pay brand. And they maybe want to keep the standard Pick n Pay brand to compete with Checkers, which is kind of high LSM, and maybe Woolworths. And they're going to have this QualiSafe brand, which competes with USave, maybe ShopRite, and other such stores. For people that may not know, the Boxer stores fall under the Pick n Pay brand. And if you do some of the research in terms of retail stores, you'll find a lot of them sit under 3-4 companies. You know, at some point, Massmart was bought by Walmart. I think Walmart has bought it outright, but Massmart, Game Stores, Cambridge, which I think they may have sold. I'm not really sure they're trying to sell because it was running at a huge loss. Dion, I don't even know if Dion stores are still the Incredible Connection, I think as well. ShopRite is owned by one gentleman, largely, Christo Visa, who owns ShopRite, he owns Pep. I think under Pep they had Ackermans, they may have Shoe City, Duns, some other stores under the Pepcore brand, which was under Steinhoff, but has since been unbundled after the Steinhoff scandals that happened with Marcus Jooste. Marcus Jooste. But anyways, QualiSafe, got me thinking just about Pick n Pay and containers, got me thinking about the looting. When the looting happened in South Africa, July 2021, there were a lot of conspiracy theories about what was happening, May have been the ANC, RET faction, Radical Economic Transformation faction, that were angry that ex-President Jacob Zuma was being arrested for contempt of court. So it was a response to that. That was one of the theories. One of the theories was the frustration of black people with Pakistani, Somalian, Ethiopian spaza shop owners saying, we're tired of these people, we want to reclaim the spaza shop industry and just supermarkets in the township. There was a conspiracy theory around the idea that the big corporates, Spar, Pick n Pay, ShopRite, maybe Cambridge, Boxer, and others, were the ones that were actually funding the looting and the rioting. Number one, because they wanted to claim insurance money. A lot of insurance money gets paid out when shops burn down, when shops are looted, etc., and destroyed. It'll also give them a chance to go on a sabbatical, go on a break, and also so that it becomes an excuse to revamp the stores. If you look at some of the stores that were looted, that were burnt down, if you look at how they've been rebuilt, stunning. new technology, great new designs, etc. So it almost becomes a great excuse to revamp the store because they now have more money or they have access to more money. Some of it coming from government and the Solidarity Fund, some coming from the insurance premiums, etc., etc. Pick n Pay years ago got involved in a BEE scheme. And in that BEE scheme, there was a supermarket chain called Score. And they bought up Score and they were funded to take these Score shops, rebrand them as Pick n Pays, and then hand them over to black franchisees. ShopRite Checkers does not do franchises. And I think under the ShopRite umbrella, OK also sits there. Christo Visa supports OK for R1. I think from SAP. I've made a video explaining why he bought it for R1 for people that may not understand. I think CNA was sold by Edcon recently for maybe 1 million rand. Not really sure, but it's in the same vein. You can read up on some of these articles. So they bought these scores and they were doing it as a BE transaction. So for many people, you think, look, Pick n Pay is doing great. The Ackerman family. Raymond Ackerman, I think his son Gareth Ackerman is running it now. Doing a great job on empower black people, etc. I myself knew 3 black gents and a black lady who owned 3 of these stores in various parts of the country. I'm not going to mention the names and the stores. It's not really important. Great story. You own a Pick n Pay. It's making millions every month. You want to be rich, you know. What people don't understand about some of these deals, right? And I'm saying this because now Pick n Pay, after the looting and the rioting, or just before, USAVE had started rolling out containers. Pick n Pay was now rolling out containers. And one of my mentors, Ukulufelo Maponya, had come up with this concept, 2U Foods, for containers, where he was going to roll out these high upmarket almost containers, meet health standards, do food, do butchery, and he feels that his ideas were stolen, along with the fact that Spar Stores now has a tagline saying 2U. And he's like, but they stole this concept from me. Sure. So Pick n Pay had these container stores that were being rolled out. I'm going back to Score. What you don't understand about some of these deals is when there's a BEE deal, a lot of that money does not come from Pick n Pay. You may feel, Pick n Pay is so generous. The money may come from the National Empowerment Fund, the NEF, which funds BEE transactions. It may come from the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, or it may come from banks and other funders that fund black economic empowerment transactions. So the money may not have come from Pick n Pay's coffers, their reserves. It may have come from budgeted money from BEE. Pick n Pay is doing this empowerment program. We'll give you guys maybe R1 billion, 250 million, whatever the case may be, to buy Score because you're doing it in a BEE transaction. And in that, we'll make sure that some of the money maybe is converted into a grant, doesn't have to be paid back. Some of the money is maybe at a very, very cheap interest, or maybe not even any interest at all. A few years after that happened, and I'd met with some of these guys who became mates, all of a sudden the businesses didn't belong to them anymore. And I was intrigued as to why. Why would you sell a Pick n Pay? Like, this is a cash cow. Not only is it a cash cow, it made those guys super celebrities in the areas. And it also attracted other business interests, because if I own a Pick n Pay store, you best believe the entrepreneurs in the area, the people that own the farms in the area, etc., they want to know my name. I become a somebody, even to the politicians. One of the things I found out is that all of these Score businesses had a white partner. Red flag. All of them had a white partner, and then they had a black face. The black person would be the one that's seen as the manager, the one that was doing operations, always on the floor, but there was an invisible white person at the back who had probably owned a Pick n Pay franchise in the past or was part of the Pick n Pay family. And a lot of these deals, and I'm not sure about these ones I'm speaking about, a lot of these deals, they ended up giving the businesses to that white owner or co-owner. Very quietly, very hush-hush, no one said anything about it. Some of these stores became corporate stores, which means Pick n Pay went and bought them up. And I'm guessing it's because those stores were doing so well that Pick n Pay was like, we can't let these people make this money. And all of those people no longer own the Pick n Pay franchises anymore. They're either owned by those white people that were their co-partners that were not there, who apparently put up a deposit at the beginning to get into the franchise, or they were taken up by Pick n Pay. So Pick n Pay rolled out these containers recently. And the other thing is they went around looking for supermarkets that were owned by black South Africans, and they rebranded them as Pick n Pay mini marts. And in that, they trained the owner manager, trained them to run a Pick and Pay. They gave them stock. And, oh, great transaction. Probably funded by BEE money again. And this BEE money gets chowed, by the way, just so you know. Gets chowed in training, because you have to train these people and their staff. Gets chowed in signage and rebranding. There's businesses, probably Pick and Pay affiliates that do the branding and all these things. Some of the money obviously is for stock. And you might find that even the stock that goes to the containers or that goes to these mini marts in the township, it's stock that's probably going to expire soon. It's a retail trick. You can hate me, you can call it a conspiracy theory. It's a retail trick. The upmarket stores and your Fourways and your Santons and your Mhlangas, they'll get the freshest. And then after like a few days, if not a few weeks, that stock will then start shifting towards the township. And by the time it gets to township shelves, same brand, same chain, you see it's going to expire soon. So you may find that this is stock that was actually meant to be written off that gets sent down. So they get to win in terms of written down stock. But this stock was funded for by BEE money. Of course, they get tax benefits because of BEE. Of course, if the businesses run at a loss, they get to write off the business in the township. That loss gets written off at head office so that Pick and Pay can avoid tax legally in that way. And then if that business does well, Pick and Pay then gets first dibs to go and buy that business and take it over. And I've been reading some of these stories of some of the most successful black people that have been running these Pick and Pay mini markets in townships, and how those stores have now been taken over by corporate Pick and Pay, which means they were kind of gambling, looking for BE money, looking to write off some of these things. And if it works, then we'll buy the store and it'll be ours. That's capitalism, guys. That's retail. That's business. You can hate it. You can get angry. You can say it's unfair. A lot of these things are written down on paper in documents and contracts that a lot of people don't read. And sometimes you guys give to your lawyers and your lawyers don't read it. Or they do a generic job of it and they're like, oh, this is standard, and they get paid. Lawyers are not in the business of solving your problem. Lawyers are in the business of getting paid for their services. They don't care if you win or lose a case. They don't care if you're screwed over or not. As long as you're constantly going to be paying them for their hours, as long as you're constantly going to be booking them to try and resolve certain things that you may not understand because your English is not good, or you don't understand Latin, or you don't understand commercial law and corporate speak. Very sadly, some of these lawyers collude with some of the bigger corporates so that they can milk you. Sadly. Anyways, I'm not here to slash Pick and Pay. Pick and Pay is my favorite retail store in the country. If you look at Pick and Pay, if you look at Spar, if you look at Spar from the Netherlands, if you look at Woolworths, if you look at ShopRite is low LSM. And ShopRite has done an amazing job of keeping prices low for the longest time. And again, shout out to Christo Visa, one of my favorite entrepreneurs in South Africa, and Whitey Passon, who was head of operations for ShopRite for the longest time and grew it into the mammoth it is on the African continent. Christo Visa, ShopRite, and what he's done there, I think they still have a loaf of brown bread for R4.99, very cheap. And he's also at Pep, which he said at the time they were looking to give black people dignity so that they don't have to buy secondhand clothing and hand-me-downs. They can go and buy new clothing that is cheap but a decent quality as well. ShopRite is a great brand. Pep is a great brand, but they're low LSM. Woolies is upmarket. I love Woolies. My favorite bread, my favorite milk is from Woolies. And I think Woolies, in terms of voting, they have the best milk in the country. I love Woolies milk. I love Woolies bread. I love Woolies as a brand. Upmarket brand, of course. And it actually changed the game for retail. You saw a lot of the other chains starting to copy the way they package their meat, the way they brand some of their things. So shout out to Woolies. I love Woolies. There's Spar, of course, which is one of the biggest giants in retail in this country, but people don't speak about it. And in terms of franchising, Spar actually leads. Because like I said, these other stores don't really give franchises, but Spar has been built off franchising, and mostly to Greek, Portuguese immigrants who came here 3 generations ago. Came here, opened spaza shops, they grew to supermarkets. From there, Spar came in and they partnered with these families, family-run businesses. They opened a Spar in probably some small town in South Africa. And from that Spar, they've built partnerships with the local farmers. Spar tries its best, and these other stores have done the same, to source from local farmers. Spar also has a section where they allow you to import and sell your own things, or allow local entrepreneurs to sell some of their goods, which is quite innovative and revolutionary. And these people took their money and they've built shopping centers around these Spars. Greek, Portuguese immigrants. Beautiful stories if you sit with these families and listen to them. Spar, Of course, it Tops became very popular as a liquor brand. And then some of these other stores came, Pick and Pay Liquor. I don't know if ShopRite has liquor or Checkers has liquor. So yeah, some of these other brands have also gotten liquor brands. Shout out to Tops, again, driving this innovation. And then Pick and Pay. Pick and Pay is my favorite. It fits in with me. I'm upper middle class, kind of caters for sort of everyone. But as you can see now, they're trying to break into a lower quality safe and then have their Pick and Pay stores. There's a beautiful Pick and Pay in Johannesburg, close to Bryanston and Randburg. It's gray in its branding, and there's a amazing restaurant right next to it called Time. Corner Republic and William Nicol, I think. Beautiful Pick and Pay store. The Pick and Pay hypers are amazing. So I love Pick and Pay. But I'm here just to discuss business capitalism and how things work. And the fact that Pick and Pay had bought stores for the purpose of BEE and black owners, and they've disappeared and no one said anything. And then they've done this thing of rolling out the containers, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. And again, I'm saying Kulufelo Maponya, my mentor of 2U Foods, has said some of these ideas were stolen from him, of which, of course, containers are not unique to him. The Pakistanis have come in and they've taken old containers and they've created them into these stores. I believe a lot of black people, if they want to get into this puzzle shop business, if you're not using your garage, if you're not building an extra room, get a container and start operating from there. It's easy. You can move it around. You just get a truck, put it on the top and get it to move. But of course, in the evolution of business, USAVE got containers. Mr. Price, as I said earlier, was doing this container thing. 27 boxes in Melville in Johannesburg is a great container mall. I know there's containers in the Johannesburg CBD by JP's Town. There's a building there, complex, not a complex, but it's flats. Containers, a lot of people have used containers in various ways. I think there's a Vugataki container mall in close to Dawn Park, Windmill Park in Egoruleni, But Kulufelo Maponya had this idea, and I can only imagine. I've been in WhatsApp groups with major politicians in the country, with big business people, and some of these ideas I've raised in those groups. And you can only imagine some people listen to these ideas, and because they have the money, they have access to funds, they have access to people that can regulate or agree to certain policies. They take these ideas and they run with them. Nothing wrong with that. It would obviously be great if I got paid commission for some of these ideas, but that's business, right? If it's not written in a contract, if I've got no IP, it is not mine. It's been shared into the world. Pick and Pay's done that with containers. They've done that with mini markets, like I said, of which it seems some of the most successful ones are being bought up by Pick and Pay. I don't know what agreements they have. And I'm just teaching you how business works so that you understand and you're not ignorant. We speak a lot about foul record record label executives. We speak about people that own production companies in TV and how they evil and they underpay actors. We don't speak much about corporate and how, not even for their employees, we can speak employees on another day, just with their business partners, how some of them get screwed over, how some of them don't get a good deal, how some of them, even when they've worked their asses off, they still have the business taken away from them after building it into something special. I just wanted to share that because, like I said, I've made dope business videos, economy videos, and I think some of the politicians and business people that have been attracted to me and that have reached out to me over the years, it's because of some of those videos they've seen from me. They educate a lot of people, they enlighten people, they teach people how to move better in business and in life. So this is just me sharing knowledge. Penuel the Black Pen, on my YouTube channel, Penuel the Black Pen, please join as a paying member. I make about 5 cents per ad. I make 5 cents per viewer of a video on my Penuel the Black Pen channel. 5 cents, which means if you watch all 30 videos in a month that I make, you have given me 1 Rand 50. And it means the world to me. I appreciate it. But you can imagine 1 Rand 50 is not a lot. So if you can join as a paying member, 10 Rand, 50 Rand, however much that you can offer for the education I share, it would mean the world to me. And it means I can then make more money from my subscribers, from my paying members for these videos that I make. I need it to sustain my life, to travel, to accumulate information, and also for some of the projects that I do on the ground in my community and in other spaces as well. For all my current paying members, I think I've got over 80 members. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I'm hoping that we can grow from 80 to 100. And hopefully in 2023, I can really punt this thing of paying members and maybe get to 500 paying members. In that way, I won't need funding from various sources that you may not like, whether it's white monopoly capital or the Guptas or radical economic transformation or Cyril Ramaphosa and the Ankoles or anyone else, at least I'll be getting 10 rands, 50 rand, 100 rand from people that actually consume my content, from people that learn from my content, and from people that just appreciate my alternative education from what you get from the schools, from mainstream media, etc. Pen you all the black pen. Have a great and blessed day, and I'll catch up with you guys again soon. I love Pick and Pay again. I hope when Gareth Ackerman sees this video, he's not like, who the fuck is this guy? Gareth, I love you and your family very much. Your father, Raymond Ackerman, has done amazing work from when they started Pick and Pay, even before with your grandfather who started the Ackerman's group. We're huge fans of your family. We're huge fans of what your family has done, not just in building Pick and Pay, but in all the jobs they've created, all the tax they've paid, all the small businesses they've empowered, especially through supplying through the Pick and Pay store. And I remember your father was a champion, Raymond Ackerman. He was a champion for getting fuel prices to go down when Pick and Pay merged with BP. There are BPs that have Pick and Pays at the back, and he championed for fuel prices to go down and for food to be cheaper as well. These are people that we need in this country. These are amazing entrepreneurs. I understand business is business and business is tough, but you appreciate what you do. Another beautiful story that I'll hopefully speak about one day is the Food Lovers Market story. Food Lovers Market has got the Fresh Stop chain, which is under Caltex garages. Some of the Caltex garages have got Fresh Stop, which is under Food Lovers Market. I know Woolworths has got a partnership with certain engine stores as well. Beautiful collaboration of business. Pen you all the black pen. Danking yabo.